Welcome to the 1982 Oscar Watch. This is where Daddy watches the Oscar nominees from 1982 and votes for his faves. Because the Academy must have lost my ballot in the mail or something. Questions, comments, concerns? Then why all this jibba-jabba? Let's do this, chum-chums! Best Picture. The winner was...
Gandhi.
Do I like this win? No! Pop quiz, when's the last time you saw Gandhi? Was it in 10th grade history class? You know when you be in school and the teacher's like, we're gonna watch a movie. And you'd be like, yes! I love movies and I hate school, this rules! Then 5 days later, you're only halfway through Gandhi and the teacher's like, well, I guess it's time for a quiz. And you're like, man, Gandhi sucks! Now please, nobody clip that and use it out of context. For the record, Gandhi the person, good. Gandhi the movie, boring. You don't believe me? Let's watch it now. Nice titles. Yeah, this is kind of a chill opening, huh? Yeah, this actually isn't that bad, you know? Dedication. You gotta dedicate. You gotta dedicate. Dedication! Uh-oh, hold up, gotta read here. Let's see what we got. No man's life can be encompassed in one telling. There's no way to give each year its allotted weight, to include each event, each person who helped shape a lifetime. Whoa. So this movie's over 3 hours long, and Gandhi lived to be 78, so... No doy! You're telling me you can't fit 78 years into 3 hours? Hey, Sir Richard Attenborough. No doy! We won't be seeing every single person Gandhi met in his entire life? I just did the math. This dude must have taken like 30,000 poos. I expect to see at least half a dozen of those minimum. Spoiler alert, Gandhi doesn't take one shit this entire movie. So that's a big old no for Gandhi. My vote? You know, I don't know, actually. This is a tough choice. Well, let's throw out Gandhi for starters. Missing can go too. It's a good movie, not a great one. And that leaves E.T., Tootsie, and The Verdict. 3 really good movies and 3 really different movies. I feel like E.T. is the consensus pick, and probably the right choice. I totally understand why it didn't win, though. It was the highest grossing film of all time, so I bet you a lot of people thought that was enough of a reward. Plus, you know they didn't want to give it to Spielberg. The Oscars just had something to get him. They snubbed him for Jaws.
I wasn't nominated! I got beaten out by Fellini.
Then come Close Encounters, Raiders, and E.T., all movies people loved, all of which get nominated for Best Picture, but they give it to classy movies instead. So then Spielberg makes a classy movie himself. It gets 11 Oscar nominations. Welcome to the club, right? Wrong. No director nod for Stevie, and the movie goes home empty-handed. And honestly, I wonder what would have happened had he won here. This may be cynical thinking, but does he make The Color Purple and Empire of the Sun and Always? Or does he stick to sci-fi action movies? Do we get a Schindler's List if he already got his Oscar? Honestly, I think we're playing with fire here. Doc told me not to kill too many butterflies while I'm surfing Oscar time waves. And Stevie's doing just fine without this Oscar, so let's move over to...
Tootsie.
Tootsie is so good, and it was also one of the highest grossing films when it was released. I mean, who doesn't want to see Ratso Rizzo in heels? Tootsie would be a good Best Picture winner, and it's shocking how well this movie holds up. You would think after 40 years a comedy about gender politics would be stale, but I just watched this movie, and it all worked for me. Other than the deceptive romance angle, but that's the plot of like 1,500 romantic comedies, so you get over it. And this would be a win for Sidney Pollack. He wins for Out of Africa in '85, and that movie blows! So it's possible if he wins here, then maybe we're spared Best Picture winning Out of Africa. But honestly, probably not, because the Oscars can't resist a big, long, boring epic, and this is one of the longest and boringest, so he'd probably end up with 2 Best Pictures in 4 years. So that leaves The Verdict. And you know what movie rocks? The Verdict. It's written by David Mamet, features a career best performance from Paul Newman, and has a supporting cast that includes James Mason, Jack Warden, Charlotte Rampling, and this little dude with the eyebrows. It placed 4th on the AFI list of best courtroom dramas, just behind 12 Angry Men. Oh, who directed that movie? Oh, Sidney Lumet. Wait, who directed The Verdict? Oh, Sidney Lumet. What else did he direct? The Fugitive Kind, Fail Safe, The Hill, The Pawnbroker, Serpico, Murder on the Orient Express, Dog Day Afternoon, The Wiz, Network? So this dude must have a bunch of Oscars already, right? None? You're telling me the director of 12 Angry Men, Dog Day Afternoon, and Network hasn't won an Oscar yet? Your Honor, I rest my case. My vote is the verdict. Best Director. The winner was
Richard Attenborough for Gandhi.
Do I like this one? Oh, yes, he said sarcastically. No. The technical feat of Gandhi is impressive. It still holds the record for most extras used. They gathered around 300,000 people for the funeral scene. But the dialogue scenes in Gandhi are so flat and dull. I'm more impressed with Das Boot, which makes it feel like there's 300,000 men in that submarine. And I heard that Sidney Lumet originally wanted 300,000 angry men in the jury box, but the studio cut it down to 12. I want to vote for Wolfgang Petersen, but like I already said, Sidney Lumet has yet to win an Oscar, and this is his last nomination, so my vote, Sidney Lumet for the verdict. And just to be clear, if you disagree, you're not wrong. The nominees are Sidney Lumet, Sidney Pollack, Steven Spielberg, and Wolfgang Petersen. All would be worthy winners this year. If you vote in Richard Attenborough, well, make that make sense in the comments section. One more Gandhi win to talk about. Best Actor.
Ben Kingsley and Gandhi.
Do I like this win? No! Something you should know about me as we continue this series, I don't like biopics. Ben Kingsley does a good job as Gandhi, but this is a very boring choice. Let's look at the other nominees. We can kick out Jack Lemmon because he's won twice already, and while he's good and missing, I can't quite call this third Oscar-level quality. And we can get rid of Dustin Hoffman on the same technicality. He just won 3 years ago, and he's going to win again in 6 years. Now, the big reason I'm focusing on Oscar history here is because this category has two living legends who have yet to win in Paul Newman and Peter O'Toole, and they're both terrific. Peter O'Toole is on his 7th nomination, and I know one of those was for Lawrence of Arabia, but this is my favorite. I also love The Stuntman, Beckett, and The Lion and Winner, but he's so fun in my favorite year. And then there's Paul Newman, who's on his 6th nomination, and he's never been better than he is in The Verdict. My vote, Paul Newman in The Verdict. And if he wins here, he doesn't win in '86, so maybe that Oscar goes to Bob Hoskins for Mona Lisa. Hoskins won the Golden Globe and the BAFTA and basically everything except the Oscar. The only reason he didn't win the Oscar is because the Oscars had to make up for their past mistakes. But their best chance to honor Paul Newman was right here. His win for The Color of Money is a total makeup Oscar. It's not that he's bad in the movie. He's Paul Newman. He's always great.
I'm back.
But out of his 9 acting nominations, I can't argue that it places any higher than 7th place. But The Verdict is easily top 3 with Cool Hand Luke and The Hustler. Point is, nobody can say they gave him this Oscar. He would have deserved the hell out of it. And if you feel bad for Ben Kingsley, well, let's give him an Oscar in 2001 for Sexy Beast. I mean, seriously, who is more memorable, Mahatma Gandhi or Don Logan?
It is time you left.
What's that supposed to mean? That stupid nodding you're doing. Is this a fuck-off, girl?
Peaceful, non-violent, non-cooperation.
I won't let you be happy. What should I?
Till you yourself see the wisdom of leaving.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Your Honor, I rest my case again. Best Actress. The winner was...
Marvelous Meryl Streep.
Do I like this win? Yes. As a kid who was obsessed with the Oscars and movies, this was always seen as the holy grail of the Best Actress winners. Like, the Academy has made mistakes in the past, but you aren't allowed to question Meryl Streep in Sophie's Choice. I don't think anybody sat me down and told me that, but somehow I knew that Meryl Streep in Sophie's Choice was one of the greatest performances of all time. Now, normally when a movie has that much hype behind it, you can't live up to it. But watch a few minutes of Sophie's Choice and there's just something that instantly tells you that this is a role that wins an Oscar. My vote? This is one of the easiest decisions I've ever made. I sent the girl to the ovens and the boy to the labor camps. Wow, once you say it out loud, it doesn't even feel like a choice. It's like when your wife says Olive Garden or Denny's, and you're like, well, I gotta eat, and I really don't care, so you just say Olive Garden, but then you're like, man, Moons Over My Hammy would hit the spot right now. But before you know it, you're on your 3rd bowl of minestrone, and oh, you were asking me who I'd vote for the... I'm so sorry. My vote, Meryl Streep in Sophie's Choice. And this competition isn't bad either. Deborah Winger, Sissy Spacek, Julie Andrews, Jessica Lange. These are all good performances that could contend in other years, but y'all are riding in the back this year. Jessica Lange especially is fantastic in Frances. She plays Frances Farmer, an actress I've seen in a grand total of 1 movie, Come and Get It, I only watched that because Walter Brennan won the first Best Supporting Actor Oscar for playing a Swedish lumberjack.
Anyway, school pick my pocket for $20 by George.
A performance that would get him canceled today. Also, a lot of his views would get him canceled today. Frances Farmer was a difficult actress, meaning she acted on her own impulses, and then Hollywood put her through the ringer. The last third of the movie is her in mental asylums. Jessica's really terrific in this film, and I wish I could vote for her, but it's Meryl all the way. I can't go against Meryl. What to do? What to do? If only I could somehow vote for both of them. Best Supporting Actress.
The winner is Jessica Lange.
Do I like this one? No, this is cheating. You cannot convince me that Jessica Lange won an Oscar for Tootsie. She won an Oscar for Frances, but she wasn't beating Meryl Streep this year, so this was a consolation prize. Jessica Lange got 2 nominations this year, something that hadn't happened since the 40s, and every time it happened in the past, the actor won in supporting. Faye Bainter, Teresa Wright, Barry Fitzgerald, and now Jessica Lange. And I used to agree with this win for that reason. Nobody wants to see someone go 0 for 2 in one night, but this is the same night that we're watching Paul Newman and Peter O'Toole get passed over for the 6th and 7th time, respectively. This ain't Little League, it's the Oscars. Her performance in Frances is Oscar-worthy. Her performance in Tootsie is serviceable, but not a performance that deserves an award. She plays the love interest, and she's good because she's a great actress, but the role is basically pretty girl who the main character falls for. He deceives her the entire film, and then at the end of the movie she's like, let me take a chance on this dude who I have only known as a liar. And if she doesn't win this year, it's no harm, no foul. She got 3 more nominations in the 80s for Country, Sweet Dreams, and Music Box. Those are 3 movies nobody has ever seen. And then she wins for Blue Sky in 1994, another movie that just barely exists. Quite literally, by the time it was released, its studio was bankrupt and the director was dead. I'm afraid to do a 1994 Oscar watch because I'm damn sure that VHS tape is haunted. I'll wake up with Tommy Lee Jones standing over my bed. My vote? It's a toss-up because this is my only chance to vote for Teri Garr, but it's also a great time for Glenn Close to win. This is Glenn's first nomination, in her first film no less. But while there's no rule that says you can't win it for your first movie, I'm going to give it to someone who had worked with Mel Brooks, Francis Ford Coppola, and Steven Spielberg by this point in her career. My vote? Teri Garr for Tootsie. The real reason that Jessica Lange win stings is because Teri Garr was right there the whole time. Jessica Lange plays the love interest, but Teri's the scene stealer. The supporting category should honor these types of performances instead of giving it to a leading lady with less screen time. Teri said it herself that she felt weird competing with Jessica because Jessica was playing the leading lady and Teri was playing the other girl. The girl who was less put together. You know, the supporting role. Now, while I agree both parts are supporting, I think Teri more exemplifies a supporting performance. It's also weird that Jessica Lange is in this category, but Deborah Winger is in lead with basically the same role and screen time. But that's beside the point. The point is, the Oscar should have gone to Teri Garr, and if not Teri Garr, then Glenn Close. Imagine a world where Glenn Close won an Oscar in 1982, and then we never had to hear the words, Academy Award nominated Hillbilly Elegy. Best Supporting Actor. The winner was...
The winner is Lou Gossett Jr.
Do I like this one? Not really, but it's not all bad. First off, this was the 55th Oscar ceremony, and Louis Gossett Jr. was only the 3rd black actor to walk that stage as a winner. Now, a lot of that you can blame on Hollywood being racist, but it had been 20 years since Sidney Poitier won. I'm gonna say it was about damn time for another. Secondly, he's good. An Officer and a Gentleman is a bit of a silly movie, but Gossett is the MVP. He plays the tough-as-nails drill sergeant who takes pleasure in breaking men down. The role's only a cliche in hindsight because the angry drill sergeant has been parodied countless times and later made iconic by R. Lee Ermey in Full Metal Jacket. Coincidentally, Ermey was considered for this role, but the director cast Gossett instead, but he kept Ermey on as a technical advisor. So I have no issues with Gossett winning for this performance on the surface. I have 2 reasons why it's not my ideal winner, and one is because Hollywood is racist. Gossett never came close to another Oscar nomination, but how much of that is his fault and how much of that is the limited amount of roles for black actors at the time? The Iron Eagle and Left Behind series don't really get a lot of Oscar buzz. So unfortunately, he didn't have the impressive post-Oscar resume that a lot of winners get. The other reason it's not my ideal winner is just because of the competition this year. There's at least 2 guys I would give it to before Lou. Let's take a look at the nominees. First, we got Charles Durning, who's secretly the heart and soul of Tootsie. If we didn't believe that someone could truly fall in love with Dorothy Michaels, then the movie wouldn't work. And Durning never plays his role for comedy, just as a simple man who is simply in love. But he didn't get nominated for Tootsie. He got nominated for having one musical number in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, which is not a good movie. And I have no idea how it got nominated for anything. Points for trying, Oscars, but this is a dummy dum-dum nomination. Then there's Robert Preston and Victor Victoria. I'm not voting for him, but he's a really fun in this movie. And he plays a gay character with respect, which may sound like faint praise, but this is 1982 we talking about. Plus, I grew up watching Robert Preston in The Music Man, and this was the movie that made me want to be an actor. He just looked like he was having so much fun, and there was just something about him that made me want to do that same thing too. Con a town full of rubes! And speaking of queer characters being treated with respect, John Lithgow in The World According to Garp. Lithgow plays Roberta Muldoon, a former tight end with the Philadelphia Eagles who got a sex change. She lives in a women's commune run by Garp's mother and becomes a trusted family friend and bodyguard. Now this is a role that seems built for sight gags, but Lithgow plays Roberta with such delicate respect that we never laugh. We just understand who she is, actually more than any other character in the film. I find this to be a touching and honest portrayal that could easily become parody or farcical in the wrong hands. And as we all know, Roberta
had a great pair of hands.
Yeah, she did.
So that's 4 very solid performances. Even Durning's great in his limited role in an odd movie. But one of my favorite performances of all time was nominated this year. Let's talk James Mason in The Verdict. Much like Paul Newman, there is an overdue narrative you can use for James Mason. He only had 2 previous nominations for A Star is Born and Georgie Girl, but this guy was an absolute legend. A star in the UK and US, his resume includes Odd Man Out, Lolita, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, North by Northwest, Julius Caesar, Heaven Can Wait, and a slew of others. And also like Paul Newman, he's never been better than he is in The Verdict. My favorite scene of his is when he's cross-examining the doctor before the trial. The doctor is answering matter-of-factly, but Mason riles him up so he gets emotional because he knows that that's going to get the jury's attention and sympathy. If this guy looks like a doctor who's passionate about saving lives. Then he has a killer monologue where he basically says it doesn't matter how you do it as long as you win the case. Because winning the case means he makes money. And money is how he lives in a nice house, wears nice clothes, and drinks nice whiskey. He is in complete control at all times and is basically an unstoppable foe. He is Goliath to Newman's puny David. You can never beat this guy. Plus, this guy's voice just makes dialogue sing.
They lied? They lied. When did they lie?
I gotta vote for my favorite in this case, and this is a damn fine category, but my vote, James Mason for The Verdict. As for the rest of the categories, that's a Gandhi sweep. What are you gonna do? There's something about a big, long, boring epic winning all the Oscars that I just find boring. I'll grant you art design and costume design, those are fair wins. But cinematography and editing should have gone to other movies, mainly Das Boot. The cinematography in Gandhi is just very flat, and if you hired me as the editor, I would have trimmed a good 42 minutes off of it easily. Das Boot is 42 minutes shorter than Gandhi, and that movie zooms because of the editing and cinematography. And don't be telling me that the screenplay to Gandhi deserved an Oscar. First off, move this crap over to the adapted category. Don't tell me you didn't use at least one written source for your 3.5-hour Gandhi biopic. This is the original screenplay category, and you give it to Gandhi over E.T. and Tootsie? Arguably the best family film and best comedy of the decade. Adapted screenplay goes to Missing, which did give Costa Gavras an Oscar, which is cool, but I would have easily picked David Mamet for The Verdict. And I looked it up, there's only about 25 curse words in The Verdict. So think about how many times he had to pick up his thesaurus and look up a synonym for John Williams rightfully wins Best Score for E.T. Victor Victoria wins the now defunct Song Score category, which was basically given to musicals so they wouldn't unfairly compete with original scores like E.T. The other nominees in this category were Annie and One from the Heart. Gee, I wonder why they got rid of this category. Finishing off the music categories, An Officer and a Gentleman wins Best Song for Up Where We Belong. I can't argue with that. Eye of the Tiger would have been a fun winner, but it's just cool that it got nominated. Like, this isn't the kind of song that the Oscars nominates. In fact, during the telecast, they got the Temptations to sing it. Like, what is this, the Ed Sullivan Show? You're worried you're going to corrupt the youth of the nation if they watch Survivor on the TV? E.T. wins visual effects and both sound categories. Makes total sense. I would argue Das Boot for sound and Poltergeist for visual effects. But E.T. had to win something if it wasn't going home with Best Picture. And finally, Quest for Fire wins Best Makeup over Gandhi. Quest for Fire is a film about cavemen and their need to create fire. There are no recognizable words spoken in the movie and no subtitles. Rather, characters speak completely in invented prehistoric languages paired with a system of gestures, grunts, and body language. Now, I've never seen Quest for Fire myself, but that's only because there are no recognizable words spoken in the movie and no subtitles. Rather, characters speak completely in invented prehistoric languages paired with a system of gestures, grunts, and body language. Well, that's it for this time. Now, if y'all excuse me, it's time to get back in my Oscar Tardis phone booth I constructed and travel to another year and fix their mistakes. Next up is 1974, and that was a really good year. I'm talking The Godfather Part 2, The Conversation, Chinatown, Blazing Saddles, and Young Frankenstein, and Art Carney and a cat on a cross-country road trip. If you want a little taste of how Daddy feels about that Best Actor win, I don't hate it! Prepare for some takes of the hottest variety, plus my Oscar ballot for 1974, where I talk about the actual best movies of the year. Gesundheit!